Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back. Same t-shirt, same day for me. Day three for you guys. Yeah, I just wanted to go over. I sent Trey a couple survey, basically asking him some questions to help equip you guys in a more effective way. And so um, I asked him to send me some questions that you guys might have on evangelism. And so he sent me a few questions, really good questions, by the way. And so I just wanted to answer those. And then, yeah. So the first question is there a right or wrong way to share our faith? It's a really good question, and we'll talk more about that, all of these next week. But just quickly, um, is there a right or wrong way to share your faith? Yes and no. There are better ways than others, definitely. There are more effective ways. Um, you know, Obviously, we always want to have the motivation of love and not judgment. Uh, we want to have the motivation of love, not, you know, uh, win another person on our, how does that saying go? Our spiritual notch on our belt. We want to go because Jesus loves these people and He cares for them and He wants them to know Him. That's the only reason, the motivation. We shouldn't have any other motivations, and so yeah, judgment, and going for other reasons than love would be a wrong way to share your faith. I mean, other than that, just go for it. And be a good listener. Pray for the people's needs. Relate to people. I think we'll talk more about that in a minute. But yeah, so there are better ways, more effective ways, and we'll talk about that next week. Um, yeah. And the second question: what if I don't know the answer when I'm sharing, with somebody? I don't know the answer to their questions. It's a really good question, and that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Is I don't know what to say. I'm scared. I don't know what to say. I think that's valid. It's so we're going to actually do some teaching and to try to get you guys equipped into what to say if someone asks these questions. And so, but ultimately, people love humility, and we're not trying to be the Bible answer man for these guys. Obviously, if we know the answer, we want to share the answer with them. But if we don't know the answer, just tell them, hey, I don't know the answer to that. But I would love to research it or talk to my pastor, find out, and I can email you or Facebook or whatever. And actually, that shows a lot of humility. Actually, I know a guy, Sam, who's going to be working with us. He's on YWAM Nashville staff. He had a friend who was sharing his faith with the guy, and the guy, asked him a question, and Sam's friend didn't know the answer, and he said, "I don't know the answer to that." And the guy actually ended up giving his life to the Lord because Sam's friend was just humble enough to say, "I don't have all the answers, but I know Jesus is the way." So actually, it can be real beneficial sometimes to not have the answer, and not be a know-it-all, and um, so we want to get equipped and know. We want to be ready to share our faith, but we're not always going to have all the answers, and that's okay. Number three, what do I say to someone I don't know? It's a good one. That's try to find the common interests. We had a group here from Minnesota in March that was we were sharing our faith. This was their first time doing it, so they were nervous. I was with two of them. We were downtown Memphis, and they were from Minnesota, so a long way away. We were walking down the street, and the first people we see, one of the guys has a Minnesota Gophers jacket on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, there's a common interest. So we said, hey, you guys from Minnesota? These guys are from Minnesota. So I mean, that's a common, that's a point where you can bring up and start relating with people. Why are you guys here? What are you doing? And so the guy actually ended up being a pastor, and so he prayed for us as we, did evangelism. And so, but things like that, Jesus in John 4, he sat down with the woman at the well and he talked to them, and basically he brought up water. Why? Because they were both at a well, they were thirsty, they were getting water. It was a common, so find points to relate. I was, I love sports, so if I find, see people with St. Louis Cardinals is the big team, around here. So I think probably maybe in your area too. But so I'll talk about the Cardinals or basketball or just things that I can relate with them about. So that's and we'll talk too about some strategic ways to go up and just pray for people next week. But that's a really good question. Question 4: what should I do if someone wants to argue? And yeah, that's a good question as well. These are all really good questions, Trey, so I really appreciate you bringing these up. Someone wants to argue, first find out, are they genuine? Do they really want to know the answer, or are they just trying to be, contentious or, rude, and they don't care anything about God. They just want to argue for the sake of arguing. I don't like to talk to those people, not that I won't talk to them, but I don't like to go any deeper into, arguing. I just say, you know what, hey man, thanks for your time. But there are some people that are genuinely interested, and, it's hard to tell. Sometimes they sound very contentious, actually, but they're not. They're actually genuine. So it's kind of hard to tell, but if there are people that are genuinely interested, I wouldn't say argue with them, but give them, if they're asking questions, give them reasons from the Bible, so that it'll help them. I remember I believed in evolution before I became a Christian, and I went to work the next day. I'd watched some evolution things on Discovery Channel, and I thought, if it's on TV, it's true. But I went to work the next day, and I told my boss, I said, can you believe this, evolution? And she just challenged me. She was like, hey, this means there is no God. And I hadn't even thought about that. I didn't even know evolution basically took God out of the equation. And so it really made me think, and I got saved a few months after that. And so, I think there is a place for arguing, but again, it has to be done in love. All of this has to be done in love and humility, and making sure that they're not just out to win some debate, but they're actually seeking, and that's sometimes hard to judge. And so I wanted to, if sometimes if you don't know the answer, going back to number 2, the best thing sometimes, the question number 3, what do I say to someone I don't know? Sometimes just sharing your testimony, how God saved you, or it can just be something that God did in your life where you saw Him. My parents got divorced, and I felt God so close during that time. It doesn't have to be I was this raging alcoholic, heroin addict, like got saved. It doesn't have to be that. It could just be I felt like I was lost, and I had a good life on the outside, and I gave my life to the Lord. Or it could be, I was going through a period of sadness, depression, or, my parents, like I said, got divorced, and Jesus was there close with me, and I felt His presence, I felt His joy. It can be something as simple as that. But I would challenge you guys before you come, if you could, to take out a pen and pad, paper, iPhone, whatever you use, iPad, and just jot down a couple testimonies from your life, places where you've seen God. Maybe, your grandmother was sick and you were praying as a church, and she got healed, or those other things that I said earlier. Just a couple things where you've seen God move in your life, and God will use your testimony. And actually, I've had students in our discipleship training program who have went out on the streets, and they've encountered people that they didn't know who had the exact same testimony as them. And I just thought, man, God, you are so wise, to place these two people together, and it was a divine appointment. And so God will use your testimony. And and then the last thing I want you guys to do before you come is just, check your heart. And, God, He wants to move through us, and minister to people, but sin blocks Him from ministering to people through us, and it actually blocks us. It hinders our growth, and it hinders us being effective. And so, if there's any sin in your life, I challenge you to pray and ask the Lord to reveal that to you, and so that you can get it out. And God is a forgiving God, and just take a few moments, and just ask the Lord to search your heart and to help you walk in righteousness in that area of your life. Uh, and so, if you would do those two things, your testimony and then just a heart check before you arrive, that would be great. And yeah, so man, super excited, and we're gonna have an awesome time, and can't wait for you guys to get here. So I'll see you in a couple days. God bless.